Good evening everybody, my name is Geraldine and I am here to give you a presentation on effective communication. Really this evening what we're going to be covering is 7 areas that are absolutely essential to be an effective communicator. We are going to be talking about the following subjects: fear, meeting and greeting skills, posture, phonetics, the art of listening, understanding body language, and finally, what they consider to be the most important, empathy. The first one we will talk about is fear. Fear, also described as nerves. So what am I talking about here? We're first going to talk about the effects of fear and our nerves on our bodies. Sometimes people would describe fear or nervousness as that I was paralyzed, I was stuck to the ground, I couldn't open my mouth. That's the first effect. The second one is I felt debilitated because I was so sick. I had no sleep the night before. I threw up. I was so nervous. I had a knot in my stomach. I had butterflies, as you all can recognize all of those descriptions. Most important one that probably is never said is the fact that it's holding you back in your career. And then you have that dreaded presentation on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or indeed every day of the week, as in from Monday to Friday, and you're carrying that baggage from literally every day of your life home with you. It's disturbing your sleep pattern, and it is, most importantly, holding you back. You can't get that promotion. That's what we're talking about. What can you do about it? Well, recognition that you have that fear is the first important thing. What are you fearful of? That's the second thing. And the agreement to be and to confront your fear and do something about it. That's when you are certainly well on your way to being sorted. Are there solutions to reducing your fear or nerves? Yes, there are. The first one I'm going to say is to prepare. Second one, know your subject matter, know your subject matter. So if you put those two together, then you certainly will feel a little bit more confident and it will reduce your fear. Now the next big fear is the fact that you will have, the biggest fear is stage fright, really. How do you overcome that? Well, the biggest chink in your armour actually is mastering the art of diaphragmatic breathing. And really what we're doing here is, apart from the 5 lobes in our lungs, 3 on one side and 2 on the other, we also have a vacant space here at the very bottom of the lungs, which is quite large. And so you're really going to be taking in large deep breaths, filling up this area here and then exhaling. And what is happening here when you do this multiple times, and not even too many, immediately, even on the first time you do it, you are reoxygenating your blood cells literally immediately, which runs around your entire body, as we all know, and then that slows your heart rate down, induces a calmness over you because of the new oxygen, and you are now much more in control of your thought process because you're calmer, and you certainly will have reduced your nerves. That is really what is vitally important. Now, one little tip here is keep a few nerves. You'll be delighted to have them because it means that you will never ever slack on preparation, knowing your subject matter and doing your diaphragmatic breathing, most importantly. All your presentations will be good. The next important one we're going to be talking about is meeting and greeting skills, which are taken for granted. I'm taking you out of your comfort zone now. You have no family or friends. You are in a room of 50 to 100 people. You are representing your company, and we'll call it Google. And you've got to work that room. Now, what are you going to do? So you'll find that people are in 2s, 3s, 4s or 5s. Go to a group of 4 or 5. You'll always see a nice, friendly, open, smiley face somewhere. And you will also see somebody maybe that's slightly on the periphery of a group. Walk up to that person, take the initiative, outstretched hand, and say, good eye contact, my name is Geraldine and I'm representing Google here tonight. And then you will find that they will immediately come back to you and say, well, my name is Tom or Margaret. Now, name recognition is your next important thing that you've got to remember. So you're going to be aiming to say his name at least 3 times. So you've introduced yourself, he said he was Tom. So now you then have to say, well, my father is Tom, I love your name, Tom, or my husband is Tom. Or when you're saying, I love your name, Tom, or if he's an unusual name, whatever, you will do so. Say it was Charles, you'll equate him with Prince Charles. That's another way of remembering the name. So that's important. Now that's going to be replicated because you will now have what they call a group introduction. So again, remember, good outstretched, firm hand, good eye contact, engaging, and name recognition. Very important. Smile, it's free, and you know what? It's a relationship builder. The next thing is you may be asked an open-ended question, and if you are, and it's a group question, sprinkle everybody with your information or the answer to that question. And for God's sake, if you, as a contributor, don't take over. Very, very important. Now, on the other hand, if you're having a one-to-one, be all engaging and all encompassing with that person, because there's nothing as bad as somebody that's earwigging somewhere else and not fully engaged. So be fully engaged if you are one-to-one with an individual. Now, you can be confident, yet be humble. And then I would finally say relax and don't take yourself too seriously. Finally, you're going to be at some point take leave of that group, or they may take leave. Remember, name recognition, firm handshake, and good eye contact. Now you can take leave and repeat the process. Thank you. So that's where we're up to there. Posture, we're now going to be talking about. Posture is very important because if you are into giving presentations and public speeches, or that after dinner speech, let it be a father of the bride speech, or all of the various presentations people have to give throughout their lives, it's important, or if you were standing in that group of people for 10, 15, 20 minutes, here's a very good tip in terms of posture. If you are slouching, obviously you immediately are giving a very bad impression. So if you have a potential employer in there, remember, people have their eyes on you at these conferences. And as a public speaker, it's absolutely important, or if you are at work giving a presentation. But the really good tip is to stand with your feet firmly on the ground, knees flexed, and the shoulder width apart. Very important. That gives a wonderful alignment to the body, and then that also aids projection. But also good posture also aids general good well-being. It also leaves you with an edge. Very, very important area. Phonetics, very important as part of what we are talking about, effective communication. After all, I'm talking about communication, and this is how we perceive communication generally, which people would say, what do I mean by communication? But we are talking here about phonetics, the spoken word and our diction. I'm going to give you one really important tip here because it's such a large area, and I would say to you, as a communicator, an effective communicator, slow down. But if you only slow down to just pronounce your words, you're going to, and finish your EDs, INGSs, you will find that you're slowing yourself down. And in doing so, you are also going to find that you are much, much more in control of the message that you intend for your audience. It's absolutely very empowering. The art of listening. Some people confuse listening and hearing as the same thing. Now, hearing, on the other, remember, is completely different to listening. Hearing is a passive neurological event that's taking place even when we are asleep. We hear maybe a plane, a train, a car, somebody calling us. On the other hand, listening requires our intention to listen, our attention, our full focus. But most importantly, hearing requires that we intend to learn to listen. That's the difference. Now, this is such a vast, important area in terms of communication that many large corporations and all of the Fortune 500 companies send their employees away to learn to listen and find the difference is absolutely staggering. When they return, their performance is up by upwards on 20%. Very big area as in the art of communication. Body language. Now, body language, again, is a huge area, vital and essential as a communicative tool to know. Because, remember, our body is said to do 55% of the talking. It's not my mouth. My words are only 7%. My tone, my pitch and my pace is only 38%. So 55% is down to what I've done with my hands, my arms, my torso, my neck, my eyes, my eyebrows, my head. My body's been doing the talking. So it's an essential area for you to learn to know. As you know, if I was standing like this, you'd say, what is she doing? How she can't talk to us like that because she's saying, stay out of my space. But that's just one example of how empowering it is, but essential to know in the business world, because if somebody tells you they're going to do something or they agree with it, or yes, that contract is signed, and yet you know their body language is telling you something entirely different. Very important. Empathy. It is said that empathy is the most essential quality for civilization. And what am I talking about when I'm talking about empathy? I'm talking about your ability to understand, to see, to hear, to be tuned in. A good example is you're at work, somebody who's normally on top of their game, very, very focused, and you know what, they're slacking, they're falling behind in their deadlines, and you know there's a crisis, or maybe you don't, but you know, you step in and take some of their workload away on a temporary basis until they've sorted out their problems. That is a very good example of empathy. That's what we would say. Some of the most important people in the world of communication actually consider this to be the first most important quality to be an effective communicator. I agree with that, and that's why I have left it till last, so that I can draw your attention to it. Finally, I now say, if you either learn, overcome and or conquer any and all of these 7 skills, and there have to be, as I said, learned, overcome, conquered, you're certainly going to be a very, very good communicator. And that's what you are here tonight for. Thank you very much.